When it comes to world building and the geography, I kind of like to take bits and pieces from our world and my own travels. There's a novella called The Assassin in the Desert, and I've been to the Middle East twice to different areas. And then I also had this horrible experience as a kid where my family was vacationing in Lake Michigan, which is this beautiful lake in the middle of America. And my aunt had been there the year before, and she said, "Oh, you guys have to go on this sand dune hike. Just a little hike. You go over a sand dune, and then you're at the lake." And my family's like, "Oh, that sounds cool. Let's try out Aunt Kathy's suggested afternoon activity." So my family, we're all New Yorkers. We're indoor cats, my family. We get to this sand dunes national park, and all you can see is this towering sand dune in the middle of summer, and it's like the size of a skyscraper, and all of us are pale and gross from being inside in the city all the time. So we just look up at the sand dune, and we're all right, we can climb that. The other side, the lake's gonna be on the other side, whatever, we'll get through it. And so we begin climbing the sand dune, which is a lot worse and harder than it looks, because with the sand you just kind of slide down. You have to really put your whole body into it, and we're barely able to breathe by the time we get to the top. And then we look out, and there's another sand dune, and so we go down the other one, up the other one, get to the next one, more sand dunes stretch away forever and ever. And so we burn through our entire water supply in about 10 minutes, and the sand dunes go on. And at one point I threw myself onto the side of a dune, and I just was I refuse to move. I would rather die here than go on this stupid hike. And my parents were we have to do it because your aunt and uncle will never let us hear the end of it. So we finally hike to the lake, and there's nothing there. And our sandwiches are moist and warm from this heat. We have no water except for but there's a giant body of fresh lake water that we can't drink because we'll get some kind of bacterial infection. So we get there and we're well, this is it. It sucks. And now we have to walk all the way back. There's no road. So we had to do the hike backwards, and it was so horrific. And it was the worst time. My parents were just very apologetic to me and my whiny little brother. And when I wrote The Assassin in the Desert, Selena goes to this desert in the middle of the continent, and she has this training montage basically, and she has to run across these sand dunes. And I totally channeled from that experience, and I think Selena throws herself to the ground at one point. It's I would rather die here than go on. She burns through her water supply. So that little pocket of her world was very much inspired by a real life experience that I had. And then also, the architecture in the desert was inspired by what I saw in Egypt and Israel. And so I love to add little bits of me like that, but then I also like to draw in history, and then sometimes just make stuff up out of nowhere, but I have to come up with clever explanations for why it works. But yeah, I just really kind of have made this patchwork of my life and history, and then things just that come out of nowhere. And it's really fun for me to discover these little pockets in the Throne of Glass or the ACOTAR world that suddenly fit with the entire world and add to its history, and it's almost like they existed and I'm just discovering them for the first time, and it's kind of a magical, fun moment. That's why I love writing so much, is discovering those little cool places, and getting to forever eternalize, immortalize. I don't know English, but that horrible family vacation. My aunt and uncle loved that story, by the way. I think I told it for the first time at an event where they were standing in the background, and they just were horrified. I don't think my parents actually never told them how bad that hike was until they heard me talking about how it literally inspired an entire geographical region in the Throne of Glass world, and it was a horrible experience that my heroine then also hated. But at the end, she's able to run across the sand dunes like a total badass. My family, not so much. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much, Booktopia, for having me, and thank you, Izzy, for all those great questions.